3, 2, 1. Well, it sounds like baseball season is right around the corner. We're about a month away from the high school season starting. As we film this today, college baseball is underway. So as we take an eye toward the high school baseball season, I couldn't think of a guy I wanted to bring on who can kind of coach us up, get us up to date on what's going on in the high school baseball scene in the San Gabriel Valley. And we'll touch the San Fernando Valley, as well as my good friend and pal, Les Lukach from PrepBaseballReport.com. This is the screen right here that's in my background. I see Les everywhere. He's got a stopwatch, a speed gun, and a video camera. What else can go wrong, right, Les? You are a friend and a pal, and I am so appreciative that you've taken the time to speak with me. First off, it's good to see you, my friend.
Hey, man, likewise, James. What a treat this is for me. You sent me a message and asked me if I want to be a part of this, and I go back to that time about 3 years ago or so, where we
Yes, sir.
Arcadia High School, and I've been a big fan of yours for years, and this is obviously a treat for me. So I'm thrilled to have the opportunity. Most importantly, not only to get to see you, but to talk baseball. Right? I mean, you mentioned that college baseball kicks off today, and we're really hopeful that the high school baseball season, at least here in SoCal, will kick off in about a month. And this is exciting, man. It's the buildup, right? We pretty much lost all of last season, so just really hopeful for the coaches, the players, and the parents, and the schools, because there's a lot of pride that comes with high school sports, as you know.
So that's the San Gabriel Valley. And as you can see, it's pretty big list. Let's go now. We're going to kind of navigate a couple of freeways and move our way over on the 101 to the San Fernando Valley. And boy, there's a lot of elite talent out there, Les. More so, I think, with the class of 2022 and 23, maybe more than 2021, but I'd sure like to hear your thoughts on that as we go along here. But I think, Les, the team that the school we're all kind of itching to watch this year is Thousand Oaks. They've got on your rankings the number 5, the number 7, and number 15 ranked players for the class of 2021. So that quantifies it to being pretty good ball players. Rock Reggio, Maxwell Muncie, and Charlie Somm, all going to Division I schools. They look pretty good, Les.
Yeah, and 2 out of those 3 guys may not even make it to school, depending on how the draft plays out for them. So, let's start with Reggio. The bat is what you really like to see, but it's everything you want, right? It's powerful. It can hit home runs. It can hit doubles. It can hit balls in the gaps. It can bunt. It can do all of those things. He seems to have found at home at second base, which is where he played at our pro case. But it's the instincts. Just a quick little story on him at the area codes underclass games 2 years ago. He had a base hit. He stole second, stole third, and then stole home on the next 4 pitches. And it left everybody with their jaw on the ground. And right then you knew this guy's special. You had your opinion of that, but that really solidified that. And he's going to have an opportunity, I think, with the draft come July this year. He's a special talent. And Max Muncie is everything you want at a shortstop. He can play defense at a very, very high level. He can swing the bat with power. He can hit it over the fence currently, but he just has a phenomenal approach at the plate, doesn't chase bad pitches, and knows what he wants to do, and he attacks those things. I believe, will also have an opportunity come the draft. And the third guy you mentioned there is Charlie Somm. We had all 3 of these guys at a pro case in the summer. It was kind of like a Thousand Oaks reunion. And, Somm is a really intriguing player in that he is incredibly cerebral, right? He's a Stanford commit. That ought to give you a good indication of how smart he is in the classroom and outside of it. But he takes a cerebral approach to the way he calls pitches behind the plate. We got an up close view of that at the pro case, where it's sometimes it's your standard pitch calling, and other times he mixes things up. Can also play first base at a high level. Swings the bat at a very, very good level. Right now I don't know that if it's a pro caliber bat at this point, but it's certainly on its way to that. And if he decides to go to Stanford, it'll certainly be that when he leaves Stanford, because his tools play now. I think he if the draft were 40 rounds like it has been, he certainly would hear his name. with the indecision on the length of the draft at this point, it's tough for me to say that he's going to have that opportunity, though. But he certainly is deserving of that opportunity.
Yeah, they look loaded. Should be
Yeah.
fun to see them play this year. I think
It'll
this
be
is
fun
one
to
of the
see
reasons why.
Yeah, it'll be fun to see how their pitching stacks up. That's kind of one of the questions going into the season. But Coach Wilson up there, Jack, does a phenomenal job with those players, and he coaches them up a lot like Zern does. And he takes the game personal, which I think he kind of passes that down to his players. And it just being around these three guys that we talked about, you see that's the case. So Thousand Oaks isn't going anywhere, James.
Cool. Glad to hear that.
Yeah.
It's always a good thing. The power structure in the San Fernando Valley really usually resonates over at Harvard Westlake and Sherman Oaks, Notre Dame. No doubt that when you look at your rankings, you've got 9 players from Harvard Westlake ranked within the 4 classes, and Notre Dame has 8, so nothing's changed. Let's talk about Harvard Westlake a little bit here, Les. And I see guys that are going to Cal, UCLA, Stanford, Northwestern. Holy cow. They're loaded again. Let's first talk, and you can just go down the line with some of these guys here. Talk about a player that made Tarek Fatal's second team all-area squad 2 years ago, and that's Christian Pasera, who's going to Cal.
Yeah, Christian was at our state games this summer and just wowed us. We had him on TrackMan. His pitching metrics were off the charts on TrackMan. What really impressed me is the gains in not only velocity, but his ability to command his 3 pitches. It was a quick outing for him, put it that way. And that's what you want. Just a phenomenal kid who will have that kind of burden of being the Harvard Westlake ace this year, I think. We'll see how he responds to that. We talked head to his battery mate and Jacob Galloway, committed to Texas Tech. Really good defensive catcher with some power in the bat. You'd like to see it be a little more consistent with the power, but he does have the ability to get the ball in play and move things around. But behind the plate, he's, in his class, one of the better catchers in the state. Outfielder Marty Kaplan was, by all accounts, one of the best California players at the area codes games this year. And he ironically was playing for neither of the California teams. I want to say he played for the White Sox or something out there. But by all my reports that I've gotten from my colleagues that were there, he was the best California player, one of the best California players there. At the time was an uncommitted outfielder, 4.35 GPA type kid committed to Northwestern. And then you have the freshmen. There's a couple other guys there that we could talk about at Harvard Westlake, that are committed as well. But I wanted to make a note of the freshmen. Bryce Rainier, right-handed pitcher, shortstop, committed to UCLA. Very, very talented player. I pumped the brakes a little bit on saying, that he is the best in that area, just simply because he is a 14-year-old freshman, 15-year-old freshman, and we just don't know, what he's going to do when he's facing Harvard Westlake, in a night game to win that league, right? So we'll see. He's a very talented pitcher. Can also play shortstop at a very high level. But Duncan Marston is a right-handed pitcher that's committed to Stanford, who is also a freshman for them. And just kind of some inside intel that I've received recently is, he may be he may have the most upside of any arm in the Harvard Westlake program. He's a big-bodied right-handed pitcher who is, upper 80s, and those guys don't just fall off trees, but they seem to, and they land at Harvard Westlake for some reason. But Duncan Marston and Bryce Rainier, 2 names that, a lot like the freshman over at San Dimas, that you're going to be hearing a whole lot of for the next 4 years.
Oh my gosh. Such great intel. So much great intel here. Let's go down the road to Notre Dame. They've got 8 players that you've got ranked on your rankings. But let's just hit on just a few of them, starting with Jack Snyder, who's going to Texas Tech. And yet here's another underclassman, class of 2023 kid, Dean West, who's your number 2 outfielder in the state, who's going to UCLA. And again, I make note of this. John Savage doesn't make mistakes, Les.
Yeah, he certainly doesn't. Not very often. That's for sure. And Dean West, I think, is going to be one of those guys that we're going to be having this conversation in 6-7 years. You're going to say, well, guess what? He didn't make a mistake again. Elite speed is the first thing that pops out at you. The left-handed bat was very advanced when I saw him last spring against Bishop Amat. It was very advanced for a freshman. He has a very good understanding of what he wants to do. He is a strong kid. He can swing it with some power. It's a small frame right now. You anticipate there's going to be a growth spurt there. Notre Dame is loaded, right? And you talked about Jack Snyder, right-handed pitcher going to Texas Tech. Upper 80s to low 90s, can really spin the curveball, really good fade on a changeup. He's a guy who's pretty fresh, didn't throw a ton as a sophomore. Obviously last year lost all that season, so the arm's fresh. Shortstop Angelo Aleman going to USD, one of the premier shortstops in his class in the state. Can do everything defensively, can also do a lot of things well with the bat. Right-handed pitcher Cole Clark going to LMU is a guy who, not a lot of people knew about coming into the spring last year. Pitched well against Amat in that opening doubleheader. I really liked him. We had him out at our state games in the summer. And again, on track, man, his metrics were really, really good. LMU wisely snatched him up shortly after that. Another arm, Luke Georgiev, is going to be, I think, the next commit on their pitching staff. It's a mid to upper 80s fastball. It's loose, repeatable actions, clean arm. And it looks easy, James. You look like it looks like he's playing catch, and it comes out at you, and it's 87 on the black, and you're just kind of like, wow. Where did this guy come from? And that's what he showed us at our state games. And catcher Max Audet, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention him. Left-handed hitting catcher who has made significant gains physically, that has allowed him to improve defensively. And the bat is showing a lot more power. Smoked a few balls at our state games, and it's not a shallow fence where we were playing. And I'd expect to see a lot more of that this spring for him.
Just a few words on the Alemany shortstop, Luke Gombos, is going to Pepperdine, or committed to Pepperdine at least.
Yeah, slick fielding shortstop who can really hit and can do a lot of things. If he doesn't have the opportunity to stay at short, he certainly can slide over to third base or even move him out into the outfield. He's got significant amount of athleticism, but the bat really plays. I like the bat. He shows the ability to go the other way and has some pull side power, which is pretty impressive.
Chaminade always does a great job and always competitive in the Mission League. They've got 3 players ranked here. Oscar Stark, who's I believe he's signed with Washington State. Another top caliber outfielder in Ian Duarte, who you've got ranked number 4 in the state for outfielders for his graduating class. And they've got a left-handed pitcher, incoming freshman, Miles Goslin, who's by all reports seems to be pretty good.
Yeah, Oscar Stark, I really like the bat on him. I think, the new staff up at Washington State is going to love what they're getting with him. Can handle the position very well. I think the glove's a little bit ahead of the bat at this point, but I think he's going to improve that and really thrive in the Pac-12 at Wazoo. The other guys you mentioned there, Ian Duarte is a guy who, again, you're going to be hearing a lot of. Right-handed pitcher, outfielder, mid to upper 80s on the mound, more of a thrower than he is a pitcher right now. But he can really swing the bat and he can go get it in the outfield. Really good speed. He hovers around, that 7.0 mark. And then the other guy you mentioned, Miles Goshine there, also a UCLA commit, pitcher, shortstop. I think he is upside is best maybe on the mound. He recently committed to UCLA about 2-3 weeks ago. He can swing the bat. He can play shortstop. I think what level, I'm not sure. UCLA's level, I don't think. I think you might slide him over to third and take advantage of the power in the bat. But on the mound, it's good. It's mid 80s. He can really spin a curveball and has a really good understanding of what he's doing there. So Chaminade's coverage not bare there, and they're going to make a little bit of noise, I think, in that league this spring.
Always competitive, isn't it, Les? I mean, it's just a fist fight every time those teams play between St. Francis and Crespi and those teams. It's one of the fun leagues I like to keep track of. Agoura High School has always been notorious for having great baseball players, Les, and they've got a couple here, and Nick Hawkins and Matt Tamura, who's going to Chico State.
Yeah, Nick Hawkins is a guy we've seen a lot of. We actually just had him at an event a couple of weeks ago, and he just continues to hit. I mean, that's all the guy does is hit. He hits good pitching, he hits bad pitching, he hits decent pitching, and he does it with power. And it's really, really impressive. He third baseman could slide over to second base. He probably would fit in there, and you take advantage of the bat and get, you get the power of the bat at a second base position. I think he's a guy who's very deserving of an opportunity at the next level. Matt Tamura, left-handed pitcher, outfielder who committed to Chico State. As you mentioned there, mid-80s arm, can really spin a curveball, as commands pitches, knows how to pitch is the thing there. He is not a guy that gives in to hitters. So Agora should make some noise this year. Coach Chev should be pretty excited about what he's got there.
Sierra Canyon has been one of the fastest rising high schools for all sports in this decade, this past decade. It's been unbelievable. And now they're good in baseball, it appears, ladies and gentlemen. And they've got 3 players that that are ranked on the rankings. If you're looking for the top ranked player in the San Fernando Valley for the class of 2022, you got to go there to find Oregon commit Jaden Newt, a right-handed pitcher. They also have Cassius Thomas, who's going to Duke. And then they have a 2024 kid in Julian Orrell. I want to say, if I pronounced it incorrectly, I am sorry. But Les, here we are, Sierra Canyon, off and running.
You're right. I mean, how about this meteoric rise for this program? I mean, just as a whole, it's been impressive. But Jaden Newt is a right-handed pitcher, hitter, because I don't know what his secondary position would be. Whether it's first base, third base. I don't know that you want to throw him in the outfield, but there is significant power in the bat. With him, James, and I actually just saw a video before we hopped on about him working out, recently, and man, the bat is really impressive. But make no mistake, I think his future is clearly on the mound. It's a low 90s arm. The curveball is sharp, and he commands it for strikes. The other secondary offerings are average at best, or average at worst, excuse me. He's just a pitcher who he looks physical. I mean, he's 6'3" and just a big body, right? I mean, he looks like a linebacker out there. And then you contrast that with Cassius Thomas, who's this long, lean, kind of lanky, wiry, strong pitcher who gets after you, man. I mean, it's 92, 93, and it's on the black on the inner half, and you're just, whoa, like you weren't expecting that. Very cerebral kid, committed to Duke. Both these guys were on the underclass area code games 2 years ago. Both pitched incredibly well over at the Urban Youth Academy during that event, and both committed shortly thereafter. And then you talked about the 2024 Julian Orrell is there. Really good player. Infielder who can really play the infield. Will be interesting to see how if his physicality or lack thereof plays a role this spring. But again, one of those freshmen you just have to put on varsity because he's that good.
Wow. Never thought I'd say I gotta watch Sierra Canyon for baseball, but here we are. And I'm not one to cast judgment or anything. The more the merrier, as I like to say. That's the fun part about it. Santa Clarita Valley always has players. And I couldn't help but when we've got one of our new writers that we've got for the LA Daily News this year is Haley Sawyer. She's worked out in the Santa Clarita Valley. So this is the portion she needs to pay attention here a little bit too. And it looks like the talent is over at West Ranch here. Les, we've got Blake Schroeder, class of 2022 player, third baseman outfielder, and then a couple of 2021 players, and Jake Callahan. And I'm going to let you take care of DJ here with his last name. It's Tukashima, if I'm not mistaken, and then Austin Pewitt. Looks like it's going to be some fun times in the Santa Clarita Valley this year, Les.
Yeah, no doubt. Let's start with West Ranch. And Coach Burrell has done a phenomenal job with that program. And Blake Schroeder, third baseman, outfielder, can really hit, and that's the bottom line. I mean, he's got a very good understanding of what he wants to do at the plate in every at bat, and he generally executes that plan. And when I saw him, he was a DH against Jay Sarah in that opening day doubleheader last year, and I was really impressed with the bat. He went out and played a little bit in the outfield, but I think his home is at third base. He can really handle it. His athleticism plays up a lot at that position. You talked about Jake Callahan. I mean, just a really good shortstop, and just one of those types of players that seemingly every winning college program has on their roster. And then, DJ Tsukishima, the outfielder there, just a cannon for an arm in the outfield. It can really go get it. He runs well. The bat's a little bit behind the defense at this point, but I think the defense is something that you can't put a price tag on for a guy that can potentially roam the center field for you at the college level. And then right-handed pitcher Austin Pewitt is a transfer to West Ranch this year, and he's a big power arm. We had him in a couple of events here in the fall, and it's 92. It comes at you. There's a little bit of effort in there, but it comes at you at 92. The curveball, he can spin it, mid 70s. Really good feel for a changeup. On video, it looks good. In person, it looks good. The arm's clean. And he's a big physical body that kind of just getting going with not a lot of innings under his belt. That league is going to be a lot of fun to follow this year too, just because of the talent. And I'm glad you mentioned Haley up there. She did a great job the last few years of covering that league. And it's exciting, at least on my behalf, to know that you guys are going to have somebody up there now permanently.
She's the best, one of the best, and I'll leave it at that.
Hey, James, one school that's in that area that I don't know if we were going to talk about or not is Oaks Christian.
Sure. Please. Yes. It's on my list, and let me just mention it real quickly. This is bad ball on my behalf here. Eldridge Armstrong's going to San Diego State, and Austin Dudas to UNLV, and they've got another catcher, and here's another catcher in the. It just seems like they just keep growing on trees here. Nate Franco, who's a class of 2023 kid, is committed to Arkansas. Yeah,
let's start with Eldridge. Really just a really good pitcher on the mound. I mean, it's upper 80s, at times can be low 90s. He's still tinkering with the bat, being a two-way guy, I think. But once he puts all of his attention on the mound, you're going to really see him just kind of take off, particularly with that staff down at San Diego State and what they do with pitchers. Coach Peraza does a phenomenal job. Austin Dudas, the shortstop, recently committed to UNLV. He's the guy that I saw a few years ago as a freshman and was really impressed with his defense. The bat has caught up with the defense, which is something I think that, led UNLV to make a move on him. And then you mentioned catcher Nate Franco, a sophomore committed to University of Arkansas. Whenever you hear a sophomore from SoCal committed to an SEC school, that catches your attention. We had him at our state games, played really, really well. He played really well at the area code games last summer on the underclass team. Just a guy that I think you're going to be hearing his name quite a bit, because his stock's going to soar over the next 2 to 3 years.
Awesome. And it's bad ball. Like I said, bad ball on my half. I should be putting myself in the old bullpen there for an inning before I go on, so to speak. It's all good.
Hey, the bullpen's better than the penalty box, James.
That's true. I wish I could say that for sometimes in life too, so it's okay. Hey, before we leave, Les, I just want to touch on Orange County really fast and your top-ranked players, so to speak. I know you know them off the top of my head. Top-ranked player for the class of 2021, Cody Schreier going to UCLA. Class of 2022 player, Mikey Romero, committed to Arizona. Shortstop, who appears to be the real deal. Another shortstop, class of 2023 kid, Will Burns, Mission Viejo. No surprise, powerhouse programs with great players.
Yeah, no surprise that they're all shortstops, right? I mean, that's really kind of the premier position at this point. And Cody Schreier he has established himself as the premier shortstop in Orange County, in my opinion. He does everything defensively. We followed him very closely, in the summer and the fall, and the power in the bat is very real. And some people will say that there's not enough consistency with the bat. But when you're getting a player his size with that sort of ability with the bat, you can't shy away from that. You mentioned Mikey Romero. He's a transfer into Orange Lutheran, elite defensive ability. The knock on him has always been his ability to run, his speed. That's improving. His athleticism is improving in that area. It's a left-handed bat that has natural power, and the ability on defense sure is there. And then lastly, Will Burns, the sophomore over at Mission Viejo, battling for a QB1 spot too there. So that tells you a little bit about his ability and athleticism. but in my opinion, the best shortstop in that class, and it's starting to be recognized as that. The bat has power. He can do everything defensively. He's a very good kid. The bat, like I said, it's powerful. He can lay down a bunt if you ask him to. He can hit and run. He can go the other way. It's just a very, very athletic and talented player who is going to probably have an opportunity to play both sports, James, at the next level, because the schools that I've been talking to about him certainly have that in mind, or at least they're going to present it that way to him. But you can't undersell a kid who's a starting quarterback at Mission Viejo.
No, Chad Johnson is one of those quarterback coaches over there. I've known him for years. He's a top-notch coach, another competitive guy, and so it's going to be. I think that whole situation of where he plays baseball or football or how they navigate it's going to be kind of fun to watch for the next couple of years. Yeah. All right, Les, let's take the evaluator hat off and put your salesman hat on. Here it is, folks. It's the website. It's prepbaseballreport.com. How can we subscribe, Les? We've talked about it for a half an hour, all these players and all that. Talk to me, my friend. What do we do here?
Yeah, well, firstly, for all the players listening, you can go in there, and if we don't have a profile on you, you can create a profile for free. It's pretty simple. We can
fantastic.
That way we can have a profile on you. You can add any notes that, when we see you. Like you said, the URL is prepbaseballreport.com/California. You go in there, you check it out. We do a lot of stuff for free. I mean, we don't put every article behind a paywall. We do the majority of our articles are free. You can read a lot of stuff on there. We do have some subscription only material and content that we put on our website. You can subscribe for as low as $99 a year. There's a $10 a month option as well. If you want to try it out and see, hey, I like it or I don't like it. There's a lot of different options there, to subscribe and read our content. We have a team of about 6 to 8 of us across the state trying to cover every corner of the state. And once the high school season picks up, certainly our coverage will pick up. We've been doing a lot of events here the last 3 months. And so there's a lot of content on players with video on there where you can take a look at those reports and those evaluations and those stories and all that.
I endorse it. It's just what it is. I mean, it's great stuff. And I endorse products with guys who are out there getting their hands dirty, getting their stuff done in the right way. And I think you guys do it. It is, for me, you cover multiple sports. You're always looking for that 1 or 2 places where you can get coached up, get the top players, and pretty much know you're set for the season. And I cannot recommend it highly enough. Les and the staff do a great job. Les, you are the man, and I cannot tell you how much I am appreciative of your time, my friend. And I look forward to seeing you the upcoming baseball season. And I know I'm excited. And you're part of the reason why now. This was probably the best 40 minutes I've had in a couple of weeks, my friend. And I appreciate your time.
Hey, James, man, I can't thank you enough for having me do this. Like I said, this is a treat for me. I've been a fan of yours for a long time. And like I said,
thank you.
Our burgeoning friendship here is just awesome. And I'm always grateful for that. But you guys do phenomenal work, and this is kind of the time of year. I mean, right? We're February 19th. I mean, we would be in the first week of the season. Hey, if we've got to wait another month, I'm okay with that. As long as we're able to do it safely and doing it in a manner that is under the guidelines of the state and everybody else. But I'm excited. I do believe that there's going to be some sort of season this year, whether it includes a playoffs or not. I do believe that there's going to be some sort of season for these spring sport athletes, and particularly baseball. And I'm just excited to get out there and see it, and obviously get out there and run into you and catch up in person. Oh yeah, for sure. And you've got a dinner on me coming from probably sometime when we get together. Anytime I can swipe my Visa card, it's a good thing, because you truly have helped guys like myself out a lot, and it kind of makes us look smart. All right, well, here's always good. Please. Here's the deal. We got to go now. But before we go to there, that play like a champion thing up on top there, for USC guys like myself, we don't like seeing that up there too much. So I'm just
throwing it out there.
I've got grief for that my entire life living in SoCal.
It's okay.
But hey, this is part of the plan. But here's the deal with that dinner piece.
Yeah.
We got to go to your go-to hole in the wall spot for a breakfast burrito.
Deal.
Boom.
Deal.
Done.
Deal.
Done.
Done deal.
I'm good.
Deal. Done
I'm
deal.
all about the hole in the wall spots, man.
Yeah. Well, there's one in LA that I will go to. That is now kind of my place. I will email you, during that time, and we will.
Done.
It is a I call it a life altering experience. That's all I'm going to say.
I like
That's
those.
all I'm going to say.
I like those.
Let's look at with PrepBaseballReport.com. Les, my friend, thank you. I appreciate your time, sir.
Thanks, buddy. Really appreciate it.